Good morning. It is 9:07 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. You can listen to the show anywhere. iHeartRadio, tune in, the FM dial. You can watch the show. Super Talk TV is up and running on Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Rumble. Hit like, hit subscribe, share the show with your friends. Christmas is coming up, and I got a lot of kids. The kids are saying, Dad, are you going to get us something nice? I said, only if we get the likes up. We got to get the likes up. Otherwise, it's gonna be something lame. I'll be honest with you guys. And you know what I'm gonna do? On Christmas morning, as they're unwrapping the lame presents, they'll look at me and they'll have tears in their eyes. They'll say, Dad, this is so lame. And I'll say, we didn't get the likes up. We didn't get the likes up. Sorry.
Do it for the kids.
Do it for the kids. Hit like, hit subscribe. We got King Louie still producing. Joan Jones in the newsroom. Didn't have to write down either of those names if you're keeping score at home. Got them. I got them all memorized. We got a lot to cover today, and I want to get your input on what you saw transpire yesterday. Matt Van Epps, Congressman-elect Van Epps, winning the special election over Afton Bain. I think all of us thought that Matt was going to win. But it still seems like there are so many conservatives today that are taking this win and treating it like we lost. Like, I'm seeing this over and over and over again. It's like, oh, we only won by 9. We only won by 9. Trump won by 22 and we only won by 9. And it's like, okay, take a deep breath. It was a special election. It was around the holidays. And this is exactly what the narrative the Dems are pushing is going to want you to think. That we have cratered here and that the Democrat got so close. I think it's important to point out, though, that for starters, the polls had it at 2 points, right? The polls had it at 2 points. So Van Epps beat the polls by 7 points. That's pretty good. And as we head towards the midterms, I just want to also point out, these polls are there to do just that. They are there to discourage you. They are there to demoralize you. They are there to keep you at home. Don't believe the polls. Just don't. Don't believe the polls. But there's a lot of Tennesseans mad. Matt only won by 9%. And I would just turn it back on you. I posted a thing on Twitter last night, and I'll bring it to the air for you today. If you're mad that Matt Van Epps only won by 9 in a district Trump won by 22, taking out the two characters and just looking at the numbers, I would ask you, how many phone calls did you make last week? Huh? What's that? You're upset. You're angry. You're tweeting about it. It was only 9 points. Should have been so much more. Well, what did you do to affect the outcome? It's getting a little uncomfortable now. I mean, how many doors did you knock on? Did you knock on any doors? Did you amplify any social media posts? Did you talk to a friend about going to vote? Any of that? But you're upset that it was a 9-point margin of victory in a special election in an off year. Listen, Tennessee has garbage voter turnout. That's just the facts. We have garbage voter turnout. We are consistently in the bottom 5 for voter turnout in the country. In the country. This isn't something that we're going to be able to fix overnight, but this is something that's not hard to fix. Do you have any idea what kind of damage we could do? And I mean, I understand Tennessee's solidly red. Like we all understand that. But do you have any idea the kind of damage that you could do if you and a friend went and knocked doors every Saturday up until the midterms? Like, we could blanket the entire state. If you went out one Saturday a month, 2 Saturdays a month, if everybody in this audience did that, we could fix the voter turnout stuff overnight. And I only tell you this because I've seen it in action. I've seen it work. I saw it with the 7 swing states. The voter turnout, the ballot chasing that Turning Point action did, it helped Trump win those 7 swing states. We could do that here. Hell, you live close to Kentucky. Maybe we can go up there and do it. Maybe we go over to North Carolina. Maybe we take a ride. I mean, seriously, for all the bitching that I've seen about the margin of victory, where's the work? Where's the work? Also, it's not hard to do this. It's just not. Just got to have conversations. You got to get a phone bank list. Got to make some telephone calls. Amplify some social media posts. Have conversations with friends and family members. Like, instead of whining about the margin of victory, say next time it's going to be bigger. Next time, I'm actually going to get off the couch. Next time, I'm going to knock doors. I think that we do have a silver lining here because so many people are demoralized by the margin of victory that we can almost take this win and use it like a motivating loss. They always say you learn more in losses than you do in wins. It's like, okay, well then take that energy, take the loser energy, and let's use it to motivate us as we head towards midterms. Let's start getting organized today. Do you know who runs your local county GOP? You do or you don't? These are important things. Do you know who runs your local TPUSA chapters? Do you know the field representatives for Turning Point in your area? Do you know? We got time. We got time before the midterms. It's time to get organized. So that way, when it turns around in 26, if it doesn't go our way, we can say, you know what? That sucks, but we did everything we could. Why aren't we out there putting in work? We got to put in work. At the same time, let's celebrate the win. We kept a lunatic, radical commie out of Congress. We got a conservative, combat veteran, West Point grad in, who for all intents and purposes seems like a great guy. A lot of people have been dogging on Matt online. And I would just say, did you knock doors during the primary? Did you make phone calls for your candidate during the primary? See, that's when that conversation's supposed to happen. Months ago. Yesterday's choice was between, like I said, a conservative, combat veteran, West Point grad, and a radical leftist commie who doesn't want kids, just wants power. It was an easy choice. It was an easy choice. But we got to get off the couch. We can't sleepwalk into midterms. We should use this as a bit of a wake-up call, a little kick in the shorts. I don't think it's as bad as the narrative and the mainstream media is going to push. Like, oh my gosh, look at how close it is. I don't buy into that. There will be some people that will push that and will fearmonger, and I reject those voices. But if you happen to be feeling that way, I would just say, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to put in work, or are you just going to complain? A lot of people could put in work. We should be putting in more work. Matt Van Epps last night, during his victory speech, talking about what he's going to bring to Congress, what his life and career and his life experiences are going to be coming with him to Congress.
The military taught me what it means to be part of a team, to trust the person next to you, to stay mission-focused, and to never leave anyone behind. That's the same spirit I'll take to Washington, because this campaign has never been about one person. It's about we, the people. I've heard your stories, and I will be your fighter. The military taught me.
That's Matt Van Epps last night, and congratulations to Matt Van Epps. It was a big victory. We needed that victory, and kudos to him for securing that. Afton Bain, though, I don't think it's the last we've seen of her. I don't. I think there's going to be a sequel to this, and she signaled as much last night with Caitlin Collins on CNN. Young Afton was asked, will you run again in 2026? Will we see a repeat of what we just saw last night?
This race does go to your opponent. Will you call him to concede this evening?
Absolutely. I actually called and asked for his campaign manager's phone. And as we like to do in the South, we are hospitable. We love Southern hospitality. And so absolutely, I will call him and make sure that he knows that that I ran a good race. And I look forward to maybe competing with him next year.
So you're leaving the door open to, if you lose this race tonight, to potentially running again?
Perhaps, yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously, I have to rest for a few days and circle back with my team. But we've won an amazing race, all things considered. The deck was stacked against us, especially in the deep red South, and we've narrowed the margin. And for me, that is a celebration worth having.
They're having a loser party. Did you see Matt Murphy's tweet last night? The Democrats are having a loser party yesterday. They're having another loser party today. For some reason, it seems like a lot of conservatives online are treating the win like a loss, and a lot of Democrats online are treating the loss like a win. It's bizarro world. I don't understand. I don't understand. But she leaves the door open. We should see a sequel to this. And we'll see what happens. I would, hey, Afton Bain, if you'd like to announce, you're more than welcome to do it on this show. By all means, I'd love to have Afton on. Would thoroughly enjoy that. I would. But this is a big win. Make no mistake about it. We were looking at a potential scenario where we could lose control of Congress before. I mean, we could lose control of the House before midterms even hit, which I'll be honest with you, I'd kind of game planned that out of my mind. I thought maybe that won't be the worst thing, but that's not going to happen anymore. Thanks to Matt Van Epps, thanks to the victory last night. Scott Jennings last night on CNN said that the Democrats are about to double down on Afton Bain's leftist campaign, her failing leftist campaign, as they head into the midterms in 2026.
Lose, there's lessons. And so I'm sure they'll look and see who turned out and what messages were effective and which ones weren't. And that'll be something the party can move going forward. It's an off-year special election. The turnout matrix is far different than a presidential, and it'll be different than what comes out in November. So you can take nothing for granted, of course, and Republicans do have historical headwinds. I still think they are in position to make an argument that their economic theories are better than the Democrats' theories. And Democrats, after all, took prices to the moon, and now they want to forget the last 4 years and pretend like this just started 10 months ago. I think most voters know that's patently ridiculous. I do have a slight disagreement with David. I do think we'll hear from her again. I think she'll run again, and I think she and her brand of politics are the median Democrat. This is the basic Democrat you're going to get in most races around the country. This person running on defund the police, radical progressive positions, whether you're in Nashville or Manhattan or Florida or California, wherever you happen to be, this is what the Democratic base wants. The most cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs person they can find, and they're going to look at these results and say, hey, this is how we got so close, so let's replicate it around the country. I think we'll hear from her and her kind for the next year. I don't think it'll be good for Democrats.
No, I agree with Scott. I think that's actually a winning recipe for conservatives. Don't interrupt their victory party today. Let's let them think that they won. That way they can replicate this message as we head towards midterms, and then we'll see the same results, predictably. 9:21, this is Super Talk, 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here, and I got to tell you about one of our newest sponsors, Parker Safes and Vaults in Shelbyville. Let's be honest, Santa can carry a lot. He can. He's probably not going to carry a 1,200-pound safe down the chimney. You're going to need to handle that on your own. That's where Parker Safes and Vaults in Shelbyville comes in. Tennessee veteran-owned Christian family business, protecting what matters since 2009. The safes that these guys have, they're not toys. These are real heavy-duty gun safes, fire-rated, theft-resistant, built to secure your firearms the right way. And they also protect the things your wife or, frankly, your mom or any mama in Tennessee cares about: jewelry, family heirlooms, passports, birth certificates, photo albums, the works, stuff you wouldn't want to lose in a fire or in a break-in. Aaron Parker runs the joint. Great guy, former Air Force security and park ranger. He'll help you choose the right safe for your home and your budget. And then him and his sons, well, they'll deliver it and install it themselves discreetly and professionally. Now, here's the Christmas bonus. Mention the Chris Hand Show this December. You'll get a free gift with your new safe, something every gun owner can use. Give Aaron a call today. 931-842-6445. 931-842-6445. Or you can visit them online, parkersafes.com. Santa brings toys. Parker's brings security. parkersafes.com.
We've got the latest twist in the targeting of narco-terror boats by the U.S. And the one thing you want to do before you take your packages to the post office for delivery. It's coming up here at 9:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Joan Jones in the newsroom. We got Louie producing. My name is Chris Hand. You can listen to us anywhere. iHeart, TuneIn, the FM dial. You can watch the show. Super Talk TV is up and running. Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble, YouTube. We got a statement from the president just about 2 minutes ago on True Social. Such a terrific victory for Matt Van Epps. He and his wonderful family last night. He will be a fantastic representative for the great state of Tennessee for many years to come. That was Donald Trump, again, just moments ago on Truth Social, congratulating Matt Van Epps, as we all are today. Big win last night, despite what the naysayers and the Democrats may try to tell you, it was not close at all. The polls had it at 2 points. Matt Van Epps won by 9. In normal times, we would consider that a landslide. I think we would consider that a landslide. But we had a 22-point Trump margin of victory in 2024, and people are looking at that as the measuring stick, and it's just not the reality of the situation. On the way, Congressman John Rose is going to be joining the show at about 9:35. John Rose is going to weigh in on the victory, what he expects from Matt Van Epps in Congress. Also, give us an update on his own race that he's running. John Rose wants to be the governor of the state of Tennessee. Last time we had him on the show, he was asked about marijuana legalization, and he said he's not for it. I said, what if the voters were for it and it got through the legislation and it got to your desk? Would you sign it? He said, no, I would veto it. And a lot of people soured on him because of those comments. But listen, it's anybody's race at this point. I do think Marsha Blackburn is ahead in the governor's race, but we'll ask for an update on John Rose. What does he think is happening in the race? What does he plan to do to win? How is he putting the work in? What are you doing if you support John Rose? I think that there's a lot of people that will sit on the couch and then will complain. We need more people willing to do the work. The primaries are where to do it, right? I've seen a lot of people complaining about Matt Van Epps, and they go, he's an establishment guy. It's like, okay. Well, you make the argument for your candidate in the primaries, right? We have a primary for the governor of Tennessee campaign happening right now. There are 3 candidates: Monty Fritz, John Rose, Marsha Blackburn. Do you like any of them? Now would be the time to start putting in work. If you think that we get lousy candidates in the state of Tennessee, as many on Twitter have told me, start putting in work. Find one that you like. Knock on doors, make phone calls, get off the couch. We need more Tennesseans to get off the couch and put in work for the person that they like than complaining on Twitter. I think we'd be a better state for it, and we'd have better representatives because of it. It's 9:30, Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
I'm Joan Jones with your top stories in Tennessee's 7th District Congressional seat. Staying red with a win last night from Matt Van Epps. He tells Dan Mandis this morning he wants to get working on affordability in all aspects, but especially in the energy sector.
Making a real push into nuclear, it'll drive down costs for farmers. It drive down costs at the pump for utilities.
Yep.
And I'm really excited to be a part of that.
The special election seen as a referendum on the Trump agenda and as a barometer of what to expect in the midterms. A new twist in the narco boat strikes performed by the Pentagon in international waters. The family of a man who was killed during one of those strikes has filed a formal complaint with the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights. Now, the family says that man was a simple fisherman, and he was killed illegally. Regardless of the commission's ruling, though, it would not be legally binding on the U.S. It is the most wonderful time of the year, but it can also be pretty frustrating for people shipping their presents through the Postal Service. Tips on getting it there in time from Natasha Garvins with the Postal Service.
Make sure you take all the markings and labels and decals off that are not ours so that those barcodes don't mix with our system and cause your package to loop around a facility.
Now, the Postal Service said it hired 14,000 seasonal employees for the holidays this year. That is the latest news. We've got your traffic and weather next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
Hey, what's up? It's Chris And here from my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. And this month, they're doing what they always do. taking care of Middle Tennessee. They're stepping it up a little bit for Christmas. I love these guys. They're always thinking of how they can help the community. And if you want to make a real difference for a local family, Busy Bee is giving you that opportunity. They're running a toy drive at their headquarters in Lebanon. And if you drop off a new toy, it's going to stay right there in Wilson County to make sure that every kid gets something under their tree on the 25th of December. And while you're thinking about everybody else, think about yourself a little bit too. Take care of your own home. If you upgrade your water heater in December, Busy Bee's going to give you a free 10-year parts warranty. Sure, some exclusions apply, but this is a real deal that's actually going to save you money long term. They're also giving away free Beehive Club memberships. What you got to do is bake a Buzz the Bee cookie, snap a picture, tag Busy Bee on social media. It's that simple. The kids want to make cookies anyway. How about you make some cookies with some perks? Maybe your air ducts need attention. Well, book a cleaning before you have company over. You book the mid-tier package, they'll bump you up to the deluxe level for free. All this and more from my friends at Busy Bee Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. They're a local hometown company. They take care of people the right way. They care about this community. They care about you. 615-775-7833. 615-775-7833. BusyBeeHVAC.com. It's 9:37, Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? I'm Chris Hand. You can find me on all the social media platforms, Twitter, True Social, Instagram, TikTok, at Chris Hand on Air. I even have a YouTube channel, at Chris Hand on Air. Hit follow, hit like, hit subscribe. I appreciate you guys doing that. And while you're at it, find the radio station on YouTube and Rumble, Super Talk 99.7. We got Super Talk TV up and running live now. Help us grow the digital footprint of the radio station. It really does help. We just crossed 13,000 subscribers. It's it's not a huge number, but if every single one of our listeners hit like and hit subscribe, we could double that in a day or two easily. So help us do that. It does make a difference. 615-737-9986. If you want to text into the show or you want to call the show. If you got any questions for Congressman John Rose, text him in. I'll be sure to ask him. John Rose is on the line now. John Rose is running for governor of the state of Tennessee and also reacting to the win from MAGA Matt Van Epps last night. Congressman Rose, how are you, sir?
I'm very good, Chris. Thanks for having me on the show this morning.
Hey, man, thanks for calling in. Instant reactions last night to what we saw and how it went down.
Well, I think it was a good night for conservatives. Certainly a good night for the 7th District and for Tennessee, and a great night for Matt Van Epps. A good night for the Republican majority in the House. We've got a good new member who I think is going to join us and, help continue to implement the vision that Donald Trump has for restoring this country. And so I think that's all very positive.
What do you think Matt Van Epps is going to bring to Congress? Is he going to be kind of a team player for everybody and just kind of rank and file doing what he needs to do to advance the Trump agenda? Or do you think that he might be a little bit more outspoken than we've seen?
Well, I don't, it's hard to know, but just based on watching Matt and how he carries himself, I think he's going to be a team player. I think he'll be effective because he's very well spoken and certainly has the right background and the right conservative mindset, I think, to be, a very productive member of Congress. And, I think he has proven that he's in step with the values of the 7th District of Tennessee and certainly a great patriot and a great warrior for this country and for standing up for our values. So I think he will be has the potential to be a star in Congress. He is soft-spoken, so I don't think he's going to be a guy like some of the members of our delegation who are tripping others so they can get to the camera first. But I think he'll be somebody that has sought out for his calm, cool reflection on what needs to be done on a policy front.
We're talking with Congressman John Rose, reacting to the election win last night for Matt Van Epps. A lot of talk online has been the margin of victory. Trump won in that district by 22 points. Matt Van Epps only won by 9. What do you make of the margin of victory? And it's kind of both sides. You have Democrats celebrating the margin of victory, and you have conservatives saying, "Whoa, that's a bit too close for me. What the heck happened?" Your reaction on the margins?
Well, I don't think we should be concerned about it at all. It was a special election happening on December 2nd, the Tuesday after the Thanksgiving break, and early voting happening as we led up to Thanksgiving. So I wouldn't be too concerned about it. Obviously, the party in power, voters are going to tend to be less motivated to come out. Obviously, Afton Bain, who's my constituent, by the way, she lives in my district, the 6th district, and moved over to run in the 7th because I think she thought there was an opportunity there. But I think Van Epps performed well. We have to keep in mind, and as we compare this to the Trump election last year, that Trump was running against Kamala Harris, for goodness sakes. And so, when you've got that kind of matchup, I think it's going to produce an outsized result. It's an R+10 district, so, Van Epps winning with 9% margin, I think actually isn't that bad given the special election status. And then if you look back and you think about this district historically, even with the redistricting, if you recalibrate for that and look at the counties that are in this district today, in the 7th district that is, think about in 2018 when Marsha Blackburn ran for the United States Senate, a seasoned politician, you might say a career politician, she won that district by a half a percentage point. So you look at that, Matt Van Epps performed 18 to 20 times better than Senator Marsha Blackburn in that same district, that same makeup of that district. And so I think it's a cause for celebration, actually. I think it's a cause to see, and I think the narrative that the national media is trying to put out and that liberals, progressives are trying to put out is just wrong-headed. I think we saw the so-called blue wave coming out of New York and New Jersey and Virginia run into the red wall of Tennessee, and I think Tennessee voters reject those radical progressive policies that we saw coming from out of Afton Bain's mouth, and I think it's a good thing for the country, a good thing for Tennessee.
Amen. Congressman John Rose is on the line reacting to the Matt Van Epps victory last night. I agree with you on the margin of victory. I think the plus 22 Trump was the outlier. When have we ever had an election where, the leading candidate almost has the back of his head blown off and then almost gets assassinated a second time? And then on the other side, the cognitively impaired candidate is removed halfway through and a new candidate is christened in there with 107 days left. That's the outlier to me.
Absolutely. I think you've got it exactly right. I think the Democrats are anxious to try to set the narrative for next year, including with this whole garbage about affordability. Heaven knows there's an affordability problem in this country, but it was caused by the radical progressives like Afton Bain policies of the Biden administration. And, when you set the fire, you don't get to show up and claim credit for trying to put it out. I mean, she's the arsonist here, and she can wear rhinestones to her loser party last night, but that doesn't make her a country music star. I think she's trying to pass herself off, and I think Tennesseans saw through that.
Oh, yeah, it was so inauthentic it hurt. Congressman John Rose is on the line. As you watch Matt Van Epps' campaign, I'm sure you're watching that and trying to learn what you can from it because you're now campaigning for the governor of the state of Tennessee. Are there key takeaways from the Matt Van Epps campaign that you're going to incorporate into your campaign? Or are there things that you're going to say, you know what, Matt did that one way, I'm going to do it a different way?
Well, I think you just have to be your own person and be true to your own values. I think Tennesseans are looking for people who can solve problems. The job of being governor is the CEO of Tennessee. We don't need a career politician. We don't need someone who's lost touch with what Tennessee values are and what Tennessee voters want. We're a conservative state, and we need an effective leader who has the right experience set to be governor of Tennessee, and I bring that to the table. And so I think if we just communicate that message, help people understand that I've got a lifetime of experience in the private sector, building businesses, successfully creating jobs in Tennessee, leading large organizations. That's what the job of governor is, and I think I just have to communicate that to the voters, and I think they'll understand that, and I think if they have a choice between a career politician and someone who cut their teeth building businesses and creating organizations, creating jobs, signing the front side of a paycheck, that's what they're looking for. That's what we've hired for Tennessee's governor in the past, and I think that's what Tennesseans will choose again.
It does seem like you have a bit more knives out for Marsha Blackburn recently than you have in the past. I keep hearing you drop career politician. You're sliding that in. Is this primary going to get a little bit more contentious between you two?
Well, I think it's just, my job is to make sure people understand the differences between what I bring to this and what my opponents bring to it. And Marsha Blackburn, she ran for office the year I started my first business, and then she spent her career in elective office. And, there's nothing wrong with that. She's a legislator by experience. That's what she knows. But the job of being governor is the job of being CEO of the state and providing that kind of leadership. And so it's my job to make sure that the Tennessee voters understand what I bring to the table and distinguish myself from the other candidates in the race. And I think my success in the private sector, I think, is what Tennesseans have chosen historically for their governors, and I think that's what they'll choose again. And that's just the message that I need to communicate. And I think, being in Washington is corrosive. I've been here 7 years. It's time for me to come home. I'm going to finish the job that I hired on to do last year. My dad taught me to do that. So I'm going to finish the work that I started here, but then I'm coming home and getting out of the swamp here before it gets into my head. I think we've seen with some of the recent things, particularly that the Senate does, of trying to reward senators with these multi-million-dollar payouts because their phone records got looked at, which was wrong. But, we shouldn't see the Senate giving some select senators a multi-million-dollar potential payout as a bonus, if you will, a big Christmas bonus.
I get where you're coming from on that, but shouldn't you have some legal way to? And for the record, all of them have said, yeah, we don't need that anymore, Marsha Blackburn included. But wouldn't you need some lane to remedy the fact that you were spied on by the federal government because you were a Republican? And doesn't $500,000 seem like light compared to what you would be owed? Now, and I'm not saying that we should be cutting checks with taxpayer money. That part feels icky to me. But when you're looking at the weaponization of the federal government under the Biden administration, what does accountability look like if it's not lawsuits? Because Lord knows we haven't seen silver bracelets for any of these individuals.
Absolutely, I agree, and that's why I've been advocating for holding those folks accountable and putting in place rules that would actually provide a deterrent. Socking the taxpayers of Tennessee, though, to hand millions of dollars over to a select group of senators is not the answer and does not provide a deterrent. If you think about that, if you're one of these Biden Justice Department people who were pursuing Tennesseans and some members of the Senate, and certainly President Trump, maybe foremost among these folks, if you're, or January 6ers, you deserve some sort of opportunity to seek redress, and we want there to be a deterrent for the future for that kind of misbehavior. But digging into the pockets of the Tennessee taxpayer to provide a big payday, that doesn't provide any deterrent. And I think it's pretty transparent what was going on here is that we had some senators who saw a chance for a big payday, and they were going to grab it, and they thought the voters wouldn't notice. But we did notice. It is very rare, Chris, that you see a unanimous roll call vote in the U.S. House of Representatives. And you saw that last 2 weeks ago, a unanimous vote to turn back this poison pill that a few senators crafted for their own benefit. And I'm glad we did. We've got to continue to press, though, Chris, because that's still the law of the land, and we've got to get the Senate to take ownership and turn that around.
Are you under the impression that Marsha Blackburn was in the weeds on the planning and carving that out?
I don't know that firsthand. I've heard things indirectly. I think that's the job the press should dig into to figure out. But
to be fair, it is your opponent, and you're using it as a weapon to bludgeon her. So it's like, can we bring more details to the table? Was it Marsha Blackburn's plan? I'm all ears if it was, but it isn't happening anymore, and you are using it as a talking point against Marsha. Was she in the weeds on the planning, or was it Josh Hawley or one of the other 8 senators? I think that we need more specifics on that.
Well, and I hope that the press will get to the bottom of that and figure that out. There are folks who know the answer to that question, and we should find that out. But here's the thing I would say. Our senators in Tennessee should take leadership on reversing that, and they haven't so far. They've said, I'll vote for it if it comes up. But they know how the Senate operates, and so they should be out there demanding that provision be stricken from the law, and they're not. And so I would call on Senator Blackburn right now to introduce a bill in the Senate and demand that it get a hearing to reverse that law because, as it is right now, it's the law of the land. If they can sue, and even if they're saying that wasn't their objective and they weren't planning to, we should note that was a carefully crafted provision. Somebody was planning that. It was not one of these spur-of-the-moment things. And so
again, I'm just asking.
And they should own it.
But I'm just asking who planned it. If you're using it to hurt Marsha Blackburn, and I'm open to the fact that she planned it, but we got to have facts and details.
Absolutely, I agree.
But I hear you saying the press should do it, but you're the one currently using it as a weapon. You're the one currently in government. So who's? I don't. You know what I'm saying? Do you get where I'm coming from, though?
I do, and I think the answer to that is that there's been a miscarriage of justice here, if you will, in that this was pushed into as a poison pill into the opportunity to reopen the government, and it was a tough choice for us on the House side that the Senate tried to sneak that in.
I mean, I just feel like this is
saying who was
this is like a side road from where we need to actually be. Like we have billions of fraud from Somali migrants in Minnesota happening.
Right.
All right, we have waste, fraud, and abuse everywhere we look. And we have no accountability for all these individuals that are committing so many crimes. So, like, I just like the focusing on this $500,000 potential for a lawsuit that you would have to go to court and win seems like we're going down rabbit holes here when the people that are scamming this country are actually still getting away with it.
Well, it was $500,000 per incident, so literally potentially millions upon millions of dollars per plaintiff here, not just 500,000. So keep that in mind. And then, I agree. This is not the number one problem, but it's a problem that should be easily fixed. And so just sitting on your hands and saying, hey, I'll vote to do away with that if it happens, if it comes to me, is not enough when, you may have been a beneficiary of it. And so I think if they want to disabuse Tennesseans of what their motives were, then they should lead the effort to reverse it. And they should be making the same demand that I'm making, and they're not. And this is not the only thing I'm working on, not the only issue of concern to me, but it is very much an issue of concern.
It's the most politically advantageous at the time. So,
well, that may be, but again, the truth is this is my job to look out for these kinds of things, and I do it every day. And so when I see one like this, I'm going to pursue it.
I feel you, John. I feel you, man. I think, and let the record state, I think John Rose is a good guy, and I'm just giving you a little bit of grief. What is the biggest issue that you think is facing the American public currently today? We have seen terror attacks in D.C., the Afghan national, rest in peace, Sarah Beckstrom. We have the fraud happening in Minnesota. We have travel bans incoming from the President of the United States. What is, with all of these different issues, what is the biggest issue facing the United States today?
$38.4 trillion in debt, growing quickly.
How do we fix it, John?
Well, we have to have the spending discipline in Washington to get, to balance our budgets. And so you saw the first step with the One Big Beautiful Law that we passed earlier this year, the biggest cuts in American history. So we're doing, and then, also the tax cuts that will spur the economy. So to solve this problem, we've got to robustly grow the American economy. I think President Trump's on the right track. We've got to level the playing field on the trade front so that this country is being productive again. And then we've got to hold the line on spending. And I think you see leadership from Republicans on all those issues. We didn't dig this hole overnight, and so we're not going to solve these problems overnight. The American people have got to have the patience to let good policies and good procedures, good legislation work. That's going to take time. It can't be done in 10 months, but we've made a really great stride toward turning this around, and we just need to have the patience to see that through. We took decades to get in this problem, and It's going to take years to solve this problem. But that's the biggest problem. That $38.4 trillion in debt right now and growing quickly, that forecloses the future for the young people of our country.
To piggyback on your point about balancing trade, we're seeing what the president's doing with the tariffs, right? And we're seeing a lot of fruit coming in. It's a lot of money coming in from tariffs. Where do you stand on the Supreme Court case that's in front of us right now, and where do you think it's going to land in relation to President Trump and the tariffs?
Sure. Well, I hope that the Supreme Court upholds the president's authority under current law to continue to use tariffs to level the playing field and open markets to U.S. products around the world. And I hope that the president will stay the course and drive for effective trade agreements, that remedy the literally 80 plus years of mistreatment of this country by our trading partners, both friend and foe alike. President's on the right track. It's unfortunate that he only has now a little over 3 years to complete his work. And then, we'll have to see if someone else can continue that effort. President's made great strides in the 10 months that he's been in office, and I fully support what he's doing. And I hope the Supreme Court does not get in the way of the president's authority to continue to open markets for U.S. products and level the playing field for U.S. workers around the world.
I'm with you. Congressman John Rose, thank you for joining the show. Any last-minute thoughts to the Tennesseans who are thinking about possibly voting for you for governor for the state of Tennessee, and where can we keep up with you online?
Sure. We'll go to johnrose.com to see what's on my website and to connect to our social media. And I think it really comes down to this. Tennesseans should pick the person who they think will make the best governor for Tennessee, not the person who maybe is on the news the most or has the longest political career. I think this is really a question of who do you think will be the best at running the state of Tennessee. And that's, like any hiring job, that's about looking at experience and capability. And I have that background, and my opponent doesn't.
Congressman Rose, thank you for the time. I appreciate it. It's 9:57. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at the Glock store. Last weekend, they had the huge Black Friday, Super Saturday sale. That event was absolutely rocking. A lot of people won a lot of great stuff. That's what you get from the Glock store events. I mean, we've come to expect it, right? We're used to that. But now that Thanksgiving is over, we got to start thinking about Christmas. And what says Christmas more than the family photo with Santa? What could be more Tennessee than a family photo with tactical Santa? Think about Santa, full camo, war paint, maybe a few accessories, looking like the most badass man that has ever come down your chimney. That's the Santa that will be backed by popular demand, Tactical Santa, visiting the Glock store and available for your holiday photos December 5th, 6th, 12th, and 13th. Just $25 is going to get you a professional family portrait by the Glock store's in-house photographer. You can bring the kids, you can bring the pets. Everyone is welcome. Get the most unique holiday photo memory ever with Glock store's own Tactical Santa. Yes, appropriate props are both encouraged and available. Tactical Santa this weekend and next. Only at the Glock store. Minutes from the airport. Worth the drive from anywhere.
10:03, and I'm Joan Jones with your top stories. The Army combat veteran beat the community organizer in yesterday's special election here in Tennessee. Despite her loss, progressive Afton Bain sounding defiant.
Congressman-elect Matt Van Epps, and I had one question for him. What will define what happens next? Do not let the Affordable Care Act subsidies expire.
Now, the congressman-elect on how he characterizes that phone call from Bain. He spoke with Dan Mandis this morning.
Basically, like, don't let the subsidies expire. And I just said, well, thank you. We're going to take a hard look at everything. We're going to be working really hard on health care.
Yeah, Van Epps says he could be sworn in as early as tomorrow and take his first vote then as well. President Trump has just announced that he'll pardon Democratic Congressman Henry Cuellar of Texas, who was indicted last year on bribery and money laundering charges. In his Truth Social post, the president accused Democrats of working to, quote, attack, rob, lie, cheat, destroy, and decimate anyone who dares to oppose their far-left agenda. The indictment clears Cuellar's wife as well. She was also facing charges. Luigi Mangione back in court yesterday, along with the Pennsylvania police officer who arrested him in the killing of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson in New York City. Here's correspondent Aaron Katursky.
Officer Joseph Detweiler testified that when he responded last December to a tip about a male who looks like the NYC shooter, he was so skeptical he didn't even turn on his police siren. But as soon as the man pulled down his mask, the officer said, "I knew it was him immediately." The officer said Mangione gave him a fake name and ID for a Mark Rosario and claimed, "I'm homeless." But the officer didn't buy it. He's heard telling a supervisor, "I'm 100% sure it's him. He's nervous as hell. I saw his fingers shaking."
Mangione's lawyers are trying to get as much evidence disqualified before the start of his trial. There is a big recall to tell you about. More than 1 million bags of shredded cheese sold at major retailers, including Walmart, Publix, and Aldi, because the products may contain metal fragments. The cheese was sold in 31 states, including Tennessee and Kentucky. They're manufactured by Great Lakes Cheese Company based in Ohio, and they include many different types of cheese, too many to mention here. So I've posted a story on my X account so you can go check what's in your fridge against a list of the products recalled. You can find me there at Joan Jones WTN. That is the latest news. Weather is next. I'm Joan Jones, WTN News.
It's 10:08 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name is Chris Hand. You can listen to the show anywhere. iHeartRadio, tune in, the FM dial. You can watch the show, Super Talk TV, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Rumble. Over on YouTube, hit like, hit subscribe. We appreciate you doing so. Oh, man, do you know what we got? We have a BNA hole update. We do. This is exciting. Some people want to call it the Music City Loop. On the Chris Hand Show, we call it the BNA hole. The Boring Company, my friend Aaron just sent me this. The Boring Company's Nashville tunnel machine is ready for a December 15th launch. The Boring Company's Prufrock MB1 tunnel boring machine sits ready in Nashville's launch shaft after successful assembly and system checks. TBC secured 27 of 45 required permits, with 10 under review, clearing major regulatory hurdles. The major milestones, they've controlled blasting, completed the launch pit conveyor systems installed, and environmental assessment found positive impacts with zero meaningful negatives. The company is working toward zero people in tunnel operations for maximum safety. Nashville has embraced the project with 30-plus station locations in design, partnerships with Tennessee Mine Rescue for emergency response, and overwhelmingly positive feedback. So December 15th launch for the BNA hole. It's exciting. Got a couple people waiting on the line with a couple questions. Let's go to Renee. Renee, you're up first on Super Talk. What's up, Renee?
Yes, hi. Good morning, Chris.
Thank you for holding. What do you got?
No, not a problem. I live in Clarksville, Montgomery County. I'm a New Jersey transplant, so hey, Joan. And I'm born again Christian. I'm conservative, and I'm kind of embarrassed on how Montgomery County voted last night. I was getting kind of scared for a little bit. I saw it turn blue for a little bit. I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
And then I saw it finally turn red, but that's just too close. Yes, we are one of the largest cities in Tennessee, but we have been largely Republican. And I mean, that's scary. And I'm really hoping Montgomery County wakes up and saw what happened with this election and woke up, because we are not infallible to lose to a Democrat.
No, I mean, absolutely not. I think you're perfectly within bounds saying that. And I think that as we move forward, the fact that we can look at this and go, ooh, yikes, in some areas, it's kind of a silver lining, because you learn a lot more in losses than wins. So some of this energy with people feeling like, wow, this is like a loss kind of energy, that's good. Let's wake people up. That's fine. Let's go knock doors. Let's go make phone calls. Let's go canvass the area. Let's go chase ballots. Let's do all the things that we saw be a winning recipe in 2024 for Trump in Tennessee. And let's not fall asleep at the wheel. We've seen many states, many cities fall asleep at the wheel, and then there's no coming back from that.
Yes, and I just hope that the Republican candidates are awake to this as well and hit Montgomery County hard, because he got very close to not winning this election. Montgomery County is a very large county, and we're growing. I mean, there's a lot of plates that I see from different counties, especially Nashville, in Clarksville. I mean,
I would gently push back, Renee. A 9-point win is not narrowly losing. Yeah. The polls had him at 2 points winning, so you could say he outperformed the polls. He performed right in line with what we've seen historically in that area. The outlier is Trump. The outlier is a 22-point victory in 2024 when we had a candidate, and I mentioned this in my conversation with John Rose, we had a candidate who had almost had the back of his head blown off, was almost murdered again. Then we had another candidate who his brain stopped working, completely flubbed a debate, so they replaced him with a female candidate who was voted in by no one and had 107 days to make something happen, started with $2 billion, ended $20 million in debt. That election alone, on its face, was unprecedented and needs to be treated as an outlier.
to be honest, do we really? I don't want to rely on things like that. I mean, that's kind of concerning where we have to rely on, God forbid, President Trump having another assassination attempt where it stirs people. I mean, Charlie Kirk. I mean, it stirred people to get into Turning Point USA more than it did while he was alive. We don't need to have a martyr to stir people.
Yeah.
People need to be stirred based on facts, based on, the insanity of the left. And I mean, I am shocked. Well, I really am not. But the amount of people that voted for Afton Bain, I'm like, do you realize she even said she hates y'all?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't even think it was Afton Bain. I think that's a vote blue no matter who crowd. Like, you could have replaced that with anybody. You could have replaced it with Heidi Campbell. You could have replaced it with Gloria Johnson. It's like, no matter who's in there, they're going to get that same votes. So that doesn't shock me. The thing I would say is I think you're right. We shouldn't have to wait for an assassination attempt to get motivated. But I would turn it back towards you, Renee, and I would say, are you involved with your local GOP?
No, I'm not. I'm
okay. And listen, this is
I'm
this
a
is no
Republican.
Listen, this is not to shame you. This is not to shame you at all. Did you knock on any doors for Matt Van Epps?
No. Okay. All right.
Do you get what I'm saying?
You're convicting me here.
This is not to be like mean. This is like we do this all the time. We complain, but we don't put in the work. You know, it's like the hen and the bread. We want the wins. We want the victories. We want to be like, yeah, we dunked on them. But the most work that the majority of the state's population is doing is casting a ballot. And I'm not. And listen, I get it. Life gets busy, and people are doing a bunch of different things. I'm not knocking it. But you can donate a Saturday a month and go knock on 100 doors with a friend.
True, but the thing is, my pushback on this is, I didn't need that to motivate me. I had the facts.
True.
Matt Van Epps was wonderful on any of the questions y'all were asking, any of the questions that he was asking.
But you're tuned. So you're tuned in, right? You're tuned in. Right. You listen to WTN. Clearly, like you're in the weeds on this stuff. So yes, you don't need the motivation. The reason that Trump's victory was so large wasn't because they went after voters like you, Renee. It's because they focused on the low propensity and no propensity voters. They went after the people that were unlikely to vote but leaned conservative. And it takes people like you to go knock on those doors, to go make those phone calls. It was something like, I can't remember the exact amount of points of contact you needed to get somebody to vote. It was like 10 points of contact. And the Turning Point Action Team did this, and they replicated it across all the swing states. Just about. Scott Pressler was doing a lot more in Pennsylvania. But it's like they had a team of activists texting, knocking, calling, texting, knocking, calling, mailers, flyers. Let me leave this on your doorknob. Have you voted yet? Can I bring you to drop off your ballot? These things made a massive difference. It's not about getting the hardcore conservatives out to vote. It's about getting the people that don't care out to vote.
True. And I'm actually very relieved that this is over because I got really tired of getting those mailers. I mean, I'm drowning in mailers.
No, I feel you. I would just say as we head toward midterms, if you're nervous about Democrats winning, like now's the time to spring into action. Like today, like figure out who runs your local GOP, figure out who runs the local Turning Point chapters in your area. Get connected. The more connected you get in these circles, the smaller they become. And before you know it, you're connected to everybody, and you're a whirlwind of change. So don't underestimate your own influence, and just go put in work.
I will definitely. Yes, I agree with you.
Hey, I appreciate your call as always, and thank you for calling, Renee. 615-737-9986. 615-737-9986. Somebody said, 7142, said, don't be an a-hole. Did you go knock on doors? I didn't, actually. I did not knock on doors. You got me. You got me. But during the 2024 election, I did a lot of work. A lot of work. I would randomly fly to Wisconsin on a weekend to go convince people to vote. And that wasn't my district, but you know what I did? I hosted people on the radio to talk about the race, and I did my best to promote Matt Van Epps. But it's about the people in these areas. You got to do the work. You got to put in the work. So, hey, man, it's up to you, really, at the end of the day. I can tell you a bunch about what you need to do, who you need to vote for, who I like, who you should like. But that's not going to affect low propensity voters. Not door knocking will, phone calls will. And for the record, 7142, I do plan to go knock on doors and make phone calls as we head towards the midterms in 2026. And I think that everybody in this listening audience should do the exact same. We got a lot more on the way. It's not going to be all election coverage all day long, although that was a great phone call from Renee. We're going to talk about the Somali fraud. We're going to talk about the statements that President Trump made on the Somalians yesterday during the cabinet meeting. He went full scorched earth, and he didn't hold back. We'll bring you all that and more on the way. It's 10:20. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. It's 1024 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? I'm Chris Hand. You can listen to the show anywhere. iHeart, TuneIn, the FM dial. You can watch the show. Super Talk TV, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Rumble. Hit like, hit subscribe, share the show with your friends. Help us grow the digital footprint of the radio station. It really, really makes a huge difference when you do that, and we appreciate you doing so. Minnesota, excuse me. It's like you say potato, I say potato. You know what I mean? It's like one in the same. Everybody's talking about Somalia. Everybody's talking about Somalia. A lot of fraud happening. A lot of fraud. Jesse Waters was talking about this yesterday. 80,000 Minnesotans are actually Somalians, and nobody seems to know how they got there, why they got there. Jesse Waters breaks it down.
This is another crazy story. Somalia, terrible place, civil war. Clinton comes in, Black Hawk Down, feels guilty, says the way we're going to do this, we'll just bring them all here, and just starts paroling tens of thousands of Somalians into Minnesota. Now, why Minnesota of all places? It's not warm. It's not like New York City. It's because the Latin American migrants hadn't gotten there yet. So the business community was like, let's send them to Minneapolis because that'll keep profits up and keep the wages down. And then we could all pat ourselves on the back and say diversity is our strength, right? So everybody gets Social Security numbers and everybody gets welfare. And they form this huge voting block in the city. I think it's 80,000 Somalians are in the state of Minnesota, and they all vote Democrat.
Shocked.
And so who figured this whole thing out? Wasn't just New York Times, wasn't just Chris Rufo. Doge. What did we hear in the beginning of the year? That criminals were ripping off nonprofits. They were just stealing money. Dana's right. They happened in New York. It happened in LA. Remember was it $24 billion for the homeless? You don't think this is happening in every city across the country? That's where the money's going. Democrats are always so worried about inflation and the social welfare net. It's because criminals are stealing it and they won't do anything about it.
He's right. In Somalia, it's crazy, man. Sorry, Minnesota. In Minnesota, it's crazy. You got all these videos coming out. There was a guy, Minneapolis man. It says Minneapolis man. He's a handyman. I got the video right here. He said that he goes around and he's a handyman. He does different houses. He does a lot of Section 8 housing. And he says he'd be walking around these Section 8 houses and he'd be so confused because he said 9 out of 10 times it would be a Somali family at the Section 8 housing in Minnesota. And then you go, but the house has brand new cars in the driveway. How do they afford, like, cars, plural? How do they afford this if they're in Section 8 housing?
I'm from Minneapolis, and Somalians are just part of the culture here. As far back as I can remember, I've always seen Somalians. And in these past 5 years, the population increased so much. It went from seeing them to them feeling like the majority a lot of places that I go. And also, over the past few years, I've noticed that I see a lot of them with new cars. So I'm a handyman, and I worked on a lot of Section 8 housing to make sure they're up to standard. And one thing I've noticed when I go to these Section 8 houses, one, it's usually a Somali family. What I mean, usually it's 9 times out of 10. And those houses usually have new cars in the front.
Oh, and who's paying for all this, you might ask? Well, you're paying for all of it. The new cars are because of the fraud. The Section 8 housing is because of the tax money. 80,000 Somalians in the area. Insane. Absolutely insane. The fraud has been getting exposed. They're stealing money, saying that their kids have autism. They're stealing money through feeding kid programs and feeding the community programs. Billions of dollars in fraud. Billions. President Trump yesterday, he was not holding back when it came to what he's seeing in Minnesota and what he's seeing, the reaction from the Democrats in charge. He's not exactly impressed with Governor Walz or any of that. This was the president yesterday in his cabinet meeting.
Which is barely a country. You know, they have no anything. They just run around killing each other. There's no structure. And when I see somebody like Ilhan Omar, who I don't know at all, but I always watch her for years. I've watched her complain about our Constitution, how she's being treated badly. Our Constitution, the United States of America, is a bad place. Hates everybody, hates Jewish people, hates everybody. And I think she's an incompetent person. She's a real terrible person. But when I watch what is happening in Minnesota, the land of 1,000 lakes, or however many lakes they have, they got a lot of lakes, but this beautiful place, and I see these people ripping it off, and now I'm understanding, and you're going to look at that's good. I hear they ripped off Somalians, ripped off that state for billions of dollars, billions, every year, billions of dollars, and they contribute nothing.
He's not lying. He had a lot more to say. And that spurned a reaction from so many. Kristi Noem gets involved. You have the mayor of Minneapolis, Jacob Fry, weighing in. You have the former mayoral candidate, Omar Fateh, weighing in as well. And you even have ICE agents on the ground in Somalia. I'm sorry, Minnesota. In Minnesota, don't you know? We'll talk about all that and more on the way. 1031, Super Talk, 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here for my friends at the Wellness Institute of Nashville. You want to get back to a pain-free life by Christmas? You understand that this is a real possibility for you, and it's not going to affect your Christmas budget. It's not going to put you out of order for Christmas. It doesn't involve surgery. It doesn't involve opioids. It doesn't involve painful injections. No. The Big Daddy Trump special from the Wellness Institute of Nashville, just $12. Going to land you a full exam, x-rays if needed, a well-explained diagnosis, and your first treatment. Only $12. Dr. Mitchell, Dr. Ashley aren't going to give up on fixing your back pain, your neck pain, your sciatica, your numbness, your bulging disc. They'll treat it all with non-surgical spinal decompression, robot lasers, and anti-gravity machines. No surgery, no injections, no opioids. Grab your MRI, get ready to finally understand your condition and fix it before Christmas. 615-246-5009. 615-246-5009. Or find them online, painisbad.com. 1036 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. My name's Chris Hand. Show's brought to you by you. Thank you for listening. Wherever you're listening, iHeartRadio, tune in the FM dial. You can watch the show, Super Talk TV, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Rumble. Hit like, hit subscribe, share the show with your friends, and find me on all the social media platforms that you fancy. At Chris Hand on air. Hit the follow button. I will follow back. We're talking about Minnesota. Somalia, don't you know? It's a bananas story, and a story that wouldn't be covered as closely, I think, personally, if Donald Trump didn't bring massive amounts of attention to it by calling Tim Walz retarded on Thanksgiving and then having a 3-hour marathon cabinet meeting yesterday where they laid out a lot of what's happening in Minnesota. If you're just joining us, I played a couple clips earlier. One was a handyman, a Minnesota handyman, lives in Minneapolis. He says he does a lot of work on Section 8 housing. He said for years and years he'd see the Somali families, 9 out of 10 of the Section 8 housing homes, and they'd always have new cars in the driveway. He thought, that's odd. How do you have Section 8 housing and have a brand new car in the driveway? Now, he didn't say what kind of cars. They could be BMWs, they could be Toyota Camrys for all we know. But a brand new car is a brand new car, and it kind of makes you raise your eyebrows a little bit. But he said he didn't think much of it until the fraud story started coming out. He goes, it just clicked. Everything made sense. President Trump yesterday absolutely going after Ilhan Omar, who married her brother to get here, and Governor Tim Walz, who looked the other way on all the fraud. This happened inside the cabinet meeting yesterday. Trump is not happy about it, to say the least.
The welfare is like 88%. They contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you, okay? Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country. I could say that about other countries, too. I can say it about other countries, too. We don't want them to hell. We have to rebuild our country. You know, our country's at a tipping point. We could go bad. We're at a tipping.
He's right. It is. It feels like a tinderbox at times. So the Minneapolis stuff is insane. How quickly that city has transformed. I made the comment last week, you know, there's one of my favorite Christmas movies is Jingle All the Way. Arnold Schwarzenegger. You got to get the Turbo Man for Jamie, all the things. And it's a hilarious movie. But it actually takes place in Minneapolis, Minnesota. And there's scenes in the movie in the Mall of America. It was released in the mid-'90s. And the Mall of America would still look like the Mall of America. I was talking to somebody that was in Minneapolis, lived in Minnesota, and they said, you know what the locals call the Mall of America now? They call it the Mall of Africa because it's all you can see as far as the eye goes is Somalis. Wild. But it's not just that they came here legally. Kristi Noem discovered that at least half of the visas in Tim Walz's Minnesota, don't you know, half of the visas that these Somalis are using are completely fraudulent. She said this yesterday during the cabinet meeting, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem.
Into Minnesota and their fraud on visas and their programs, 50% of them are fraudulent, which means that wacko Governor Walz either is an idiot or he did it on purpose. And I think he's both, sir. He brought people in there illegally that never should have been in this country, said they were somebody that they're not. They said they were married to somebody who was their brother or somebody else. Fraudulent visa applications, signed up for government programs, took hundreds of billions of dollars from the taxpayers, and we're going to remove them and we're going to get our money back. And we're going to, this next year, make sure that we only put people in leadership positions in this country that love this country.
I mean, just think about that. 80,000 Somalians in an area. If 50% of the visas are fraudulent, that's 40,000 illegal alien Somalians taking advantage of taxpayer money, taking advantage of NGOs, or in some cases, creating completely fictitious NGOs to take your money, benefiting off of it, sending the money out of the country back to Somalia. What are they doing? What are they doing for America? How are the Somalians, and maybe somebody can enlighten me, How have the Somalians made America great? Maybe even a little bit simpler. How have the Somalians even assimilated? We're the melting pot. We got to do immigration. Everybody loves immigration. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hey, even conservatives do it. Now, I'm not talking about legal immigration. I sure do love legal immigration. It's like, well, okay, can we have a real conversation, though? If let's say the 80,000 were legal. If they come here and they don't assimilate, they rob us blind via fraud, hundreds of billions of dollars. What's the benefit? What's the benefit? I'm having a hard time seeing one. President Trump said no more Somalians in the country. They stink. They contribute nothing. And he said I don't want them here, to be honest with you. They're at 88%. 88% of them on welfare, according to President Trump. Ripping off billions of dollars in Minnesota. 88% of the community on welfare. Trump called the Somalians and he called third worlders that are coming here garbage people who, and I quote, do nothing but bitch.
We could go one way or the other, and we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country. Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. These aren't people that work. These aren't people that say, let's go, come on, let's make this place great. These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain. And from where they came from, they got nothing. You know, they came from paradise, and they said, this isn't paradise. But when they come from hell, and they complain and do nothing but bitch, we don't want them in our country. Let them go back to where they came from and fix it. Okay. Thank you very much, everybody.
I love how he closes. Let them go back to where they came from and fix it. You know, one of the undersold aspects of the absolute mass migration that we've seen over the last 4 years, I mean, you can go back decades, right? But over the last 4 years under Joe Biden and his administration, 5 years, one of the things that's not talked about is what he just said there. Why don't you go back to your country and fix it? You see, in a lot of these third world countries and a lot of these war-torn countries, you have a thing called brain drain that doesn't get talked about enough. Brain drain is a real issue. Basically, what it means is anybody with a head on their shoulders that can see straight is thinking, I got to get the hell out of here because this is a mess. And then you're left with a bunch of people that can't do normal things and fix things and create anything or run anything efficiently. And the countries that were already hellholes descend more into chaos and hellholes. It's crazy. It's crazy. I do know that ICE is on the ground I keep calling it Somalia, in Minnesota. ICE is on the ground in Minnesota. How do we know that? Well, Jacob Fry, the mayor of Minneapolis, the guy who bent the knee, cried at the golden casket of George Floyd, the guy who only won his mayoral race because there was a Somali clan war between tribes, and Omar Fateh, the Somali running against the white man, Jacob Fry, was in the wrong clan. He told everybody yesterday during a press conference, he said, please don't take our Somalis. They benefit the community in so many ways.
To respond to a number of credible reports from several media outlets relaying that there are as many as 100 federal agents that will be deployed to the Twin Cities with a specific focus on targeting our Somali community. To our Somali community, we love you and we stand with you.
Stunning and brave.
That commitment is rock solid. Minneapolis is proud to be home to the largest Somali community in the entire country.
I mean, I think it's important to point out that he can't say anything else. As we played a clip just a couple minutes ago, Jesse Waters, 80,000 Somalis in the area. Easily one of the biggest voting blocs. You imported these people. If he says anything, he's done. His political career is over. He only won the mayoral race because of a Somali clan warfare. It's so crazy. He's not allowed to say anything negative about the Somalis. And I don't think Jacob Fry is too dumb to notice that they don't actually add any value to the area. No value added. Tell me if I'm wrong. He continues.
They've been here for decades in many instances. They're entrepreneurs and fathers. They benefit both the culture and the economic resilience of our city.
Do explain. When 88% of them, according to the president, are on welfare, do explain how they positively impact the economic culture. I mean, I'm sure they have an impact on the economic culture, but how do they positively impact the economic status of the area? Minneapolis police chief is demanding, this is wild, he's demanding residents call 911 should anybody be getting kidnapped. And he uses the Minnesota state rep who was assassinated by a lunatic as justification for calling 911 on ICE agents.
Folks that are masked, that they're not sure if they're law enforcement, that they may be kidnapping people. Like, we have had those reports. I want to be clear to the community. The community should know that if you see something like that is legitimate, that you don't know if someone is law enforcement, you should call 911. And you should provide as much information as possible, because let's not forget, we very recently had tragedy in this state by someone who was purporting to be law enforcement. So please, let's be clear. That's something everyone should report, and that we will immediately respond to, and we will document, whether it's somebody's not sure if there's a kidnapping happening, somebody's not sure if there's law enforcement present or not. And that's something else that's additional policy requirements that we are implementing, that we will document and report these types of things anytime that we hear it, and reminding our officers of their duty to intervene.
The Minneapolis police have a duty to intervene should ICE agents be doing their damn job. Weird. And they're using the cover of the Minnesota state lawmaker who was assassinated in her home by a man dressed up as a police officer. I'm sure this won't end well, right? Is Minneapolis going to be the spot where we have federal authorities versus state authorities? If they refuse to identify themselves to local cops, is somebody going to draw a weapon? Is there going to be a standoff over a Somali illegal alien? It's worth asking the question. I hope not. I certainly hope not. Failed mayoral candidate Omar Fateh was warning the Somali community. He said, ICE has been seen all over Minneapolis abducting our neighbors from the streets and their homes as part of their operation. Please share this thread with your friends and neighbors to make sure they have access to resources necessary to protect each other. It's a huge, long Twitter thread. But I'm only going to read you the next tweet. I'm going to stop halfway through because he says it all right there. ICE is targeting Somali neighbors who are undocumented or who have final orders of removal. That's it. Once again, not disappearing neighbors and friends from the streets, going after those who shouldn't be here. And we're going to probably, I would imagine we're going to see some sort of standoff. If Brian O'Hara, the Minneapolis police chief, is saying, if you see ICE, if you see them in mass, you better call 911. Minneapolis PD has a right to intervene. What is that going to lead to? And for what? For what? It's crazy. A story that we are definitely going to be keeping our eyes on. Caroline Levitt had a few things to say about it, and a group of Minnesota's Department of Human Service employees are begging President Trump to send in federal investigators. We'll talk about all that and more on the way. It's 10:51. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, what's up? It's Chris Hand here from my friend Shane Ring over at Cover Nash. Do you need health insurance? Are you paying too much for health insurance? If you answered yes to either of those questions, call Shane Ring today. Cover Nash is going to get you covered And it's going to be so simple. Shane doesn't like the math test. He doesn't like confusing percentages. He doesn't like surprise bills. He doesn't want to hit you with fine print that bites back. He makes it simple. Cover Nash is a brand new nationwide PPO plan that is going to give you the freedom to pick your own doctor anywhere in the country. No referrals, no red tape. This is so simple. Just a $250 deductible, a flat $50 copay for any doctor, even specialists, outpatient surgeries, $250, hospital stays, just $1,000. Free preventative care, colonoscopies, mammograms, the works. This is ACA compliant. Not that we're huge fans of that, but it's there. And here's the kicker, though. No surprise bills, no hidden fees, just real protection from real providers. Now, if that's not the right plan for you, Shane's the guy to talk to because he has over 75 top-rated companies that he's working with. They'll find something that can work for your budget, your needs, your business. If I'm a betting man, Shane's at his desk right now. 615-465-0023. 615-465-0023. Health insurance is finally made simple thanks to Cover Nash. CoverNash.com.
The newly elected 7th District Congressman says he wants to get to work making life affordable for Tennesseans right off the bat. We'll tell you about that coming up at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Ken Weaver in the newsroom. We got King Louie producing. My name is Chris Hand. Hey, how are you? You can listen to the show anywhere, iHeart, TuneIn, the FM dial. You can watch us. SuperTalk TV's up and running. Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Rumble. Hit like, hit subscribe, hit share. Help us grow the digital footprint of the radio station. I'm reading the text line, 615-737-9986. Same number if you want to make a call to the show, 615-737-9986. A lot of people coming in hot with some nicknames. It's Minnesomalia now. Quite a few texters have told me that. It's Minnesomalia now. And as for the Mall of America, it's the Somal of America. Brian in Thompson Station. What's up, man? What do you got?
Well, I think that the Somalis are like the perfect Democrats. They got so much in common. They hate this country. They complain a lot, and they don't contribute anything back.
Yep, dude,
So,
it's crazy, and they don't want to assimilate at all. It's insane.
Yeah, but Chris, I see that with every illegal. You go down to Nonesville Road, it's been converted into Little Mexico.
Yep.
You know.
Yep.
I mean, it's nobody that's come in the wrong way has assimilated.
No, well, and I think you make the argument that there's a lot of people that came in the right way that haven't assimilated either. But people don't want to have that conversation.
No. What would be your example on that? I mean, they keep their culture and they blend it into ours when they come in the right way, but I can't think of.
I mean, my example on that would be Minneapolis and Minnesota. If 80,000 Somalis are there, 50% of them are on fraudulent visas, then you're absolutely looking at 50% of the population that doesn't want to assimilate.
I see where you're coming from.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Yes, sir.
Hey, man, I appreciate the call. 615-737-9986 if you want to join the conversation. 615-737-9986. Caroline Levitt, this was a press briefing that she had. I think this was yesterday. It might be a couple days ago at this point because we had a lot to get to yesterday with the election stuff, so this might be a bit left over. But she said that the Minnesotans have been defrauded to the tune of nearly $1 billion. And I'm talking about actual Minnesotans, don't you know?
And jeopardize the safety of law-abiding American citizens. In fact, according to a new bombshell report from the New York Times, Somalian migrants in Minnesota have defrauded nearly $1 billion in taxpayer-funded benefits under Democrat Governor Walz's leadership. President Trump is putting an end to this dangerous America Last approach. His position is rooted in common sense. In the wake of last week's atrocity, and jeopardize the safety of law-abiding American citizens. In fact, according to a new bombshell report from the New York Times, Somalian migrants in Minnesota have defrauded nearly $1 billion in taxpayer-funded benefits under Democrat Governor Walz's leadership.
And where's Walz in all this? He's been quiet as a church mouse. He did go on one of the talking shows over the weekend, and he was asked if he had any idea that this was happening. Sir, did you have any idea that this was happening? And what do you think? What do you think he says? Well, he quickly deflects. He quickly points the finger in another direction. Will Cain brought this clip up on his show and just blasted Governor Walz for his sheer incompetence in not just running the state, but avoiding and ignoring the blatant fraud that was happening directly under his nose.
Did Governor Tim Walz have any idea what was happening in his state?
Do you take responsibility for failing to stop this fraud in your state?
Well, certainly I take responsibility for putting people in jail. Governors don't get to just talk theoretically. We have to solve problems. And I will note, it's not just Somalis. Minnesota is a generous state. Minnesota is a prosperous state, a well-run state. We're AAA bond rated, but that attracts criminals.
Heck of a non-answer from Governor Walz. I'll take credit for putting people in jail. Do you take credit for importing them in and allowing them to defraud the entire state? That guy was one heartbeat away. He could have been one heartbeat away from the presidency. We dodged so many bullets. It's 11:01. Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. Right now in Tennessee, newly elected 7th District Congressman Matt Van Epps says he wants to get to work on making life affordable for Tennesseans, especially when it comes to energy.
Making a real push into nuclear, it'll drive down costs for farmers. It drive down costs at the pump for utilities.
Yep.
And I'm really excited to be a part of that.
Reports say the Trump administration's nuclear energy plan could increase electricity bills short term, but then stabilize or even reduce energy prices starting in 2035. The policy could create hundreds of thousands of jobs, with most of them concentrated in construction and supply chain sectors during the next 10 to 15 years. Here in Nashville, the former deputy executive director of the Metro Human Relations Commission's been indicted for allegedly stealing more than $62,000 of public money. Channel 4's Amanda Hera on the charges against Mark Etherly.
Etherly is accused of directing Metro funds to organizations that he created and controlled, submitting ineligible reimbursement claims, and using public money for personal expenses.
Now, for things like ride shares, cell phone bills, trips all over the world, he's being held on a $50,000 bond. In Sumner County, a teenage middle schooler has died after a Thanksgiving break ATV accident. 13-year-old Bentley Springer was out riding with friends, according to family friend Chris Dobry, who spoke to News 2.
She hit a tree and she went into cardiac arrest, and there was nobody there to resuscitate her as far as the news that I got.
Springer was a cheerleader at Knox Doss Middle School. Her family made the decision to remove her from life support, and they say her organs were able to save the lives of 4 others. That's the latest news. Weather's up next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
It's 11:06 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? It's Chris Hand. Find me on social media, Instagram, Twitter, True Social, TikTok, YouTube, at Chris Hand on air. Hit the follow button. I will follow back. Appreciate you keeping up with me off air. You can always send me stuff. You can always send me stories that you're paying attention to, stories you want me to pay attention to, tweets, info, all that kind of stuff. I'm always there for the conversation. I think Twitter's the best platform if you got something that you want to reach out to me. But it's been weird. Have you noticed? Is it just me? Anybody else notice that the DMs versus like this new beta chat thing on X is like really weird? It's just me. It's just me. Got it. President Trump yesterday, during that 3-hour cabinet meeting, he was very complimentary to the guys holding the boom mics over their heads. So look at these guys, very strong. 3 hours, they don't flinch. I don't know. I wouldn't be able to do that. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I'd be sweating. My arms would turn into pieces of spaghetti. But that cabinet meeting went on for 3 hours. And then they took questions. During the cabinet meeting, he talked a lot about Somalia. He talked a lot about Minnesota. He talked a lot about the fraud. He talked a lot about cleaning up the border. But he also talked about the economy. And he talked about the investments coming into this country. Affordability has been the name of the game. He does go on to call it a con. But he was talking about the record investments that we've had in this country in just 10 months that we have not seen the fruit from yet. I think 2026 is going to be a massive year for the American economy. I think one of the parts is the investment. President Trump said 4 years of Joe Biden. 4 years of Joe Biden. You know how much he got invested in America? $1 trillion. Sounds pretty good. Sounds pretty good. Except till you realize it's been 10 months under President Trump and we've had $18 trillion in commitments.
Hottest country anywhere in the world. It's true. The hottest country anywhere in the world. Think of that. In 4 long years of the Biden administration, there were just $1 trillion of new investments in the United States in 10 months. We've secured commitments of over $18 trillion. So they had, in 1 year, less than $1 trillion. That's in a period of 4 years. Think of it. 4 years, they had less than $1 trillion. In 10 months, we have more than $18 trillion. Is that right, Scott? It's even going to be higher than that.
It'll be higher, but
and going up. Sir. And we're waiting for the Supreme Court case, and it's so important and so vital for this country.
He's right. We talked with John Rose about that earlier. He's hoping that the Supreme Court does fall in line with the president. But he talked about the affordability, the word affordability. We saw that on full display during the Afton-Bain failed campaign for the 7th Congressional District. We're seeing that as a talking point from Democrats everywhere. They never point out the fact that Trump inherited a trash economy with trash inflation from the Biden administration. Prices were already high, and now they're using that as a bludgeon against him. Trump says it's a con job.
All over the world, from Mexico, from Canada, from Europe, from China, from Japan a lot. We just had Toyota is going to spend $10 billion, they just announced, on building new plants in this country. Our workers, they're going to be our workers, but they're spending a tremendous amount. So the stock market has set 46 all-time highs. And this last Friday, which is called Black Friday, was the biggest ever online sales that there's ever been by a lot. More Americans are working today than at any time in the history of our country. I mean, these are the facts we have to get out. And, you know, there's this fake narrative that the Democrats talk about, affordability. They just say the word. It doesn't mean anything to anybody. They just say it. Affordability. I inherited the worst inflation in history. There was no affordability. Nobody could afford anything. The prices were massively high. Do you remember when we took over eggs? You did a great job on that, Madam Secretary. Agriculture, Brooke. Eggs were 4 or 5 times higher than they had ever been. They said don't order eggs for Easter at the White House. And we ended up doing it, and we got the egg prices way down, lower than what they were before. But the word affordability is a con job by the Democrats. They say
He's right. It's just the new talking point. Remember how much they were harping on eggs? Like the president said there in the beginning of the term. Eggs, eggs, eggs. All we heard was eggs. Everybody ignored the fact that it had to do with an avian flu and Joe Biden killing a bunch of chickens, ordering them. You got to kill them birds. Let's ignore that. Let's ignore that. But affordability, the word is a con job. Total con job. Scott Bessent is actually at the New York Times Deal Book Summit right now, and he was talking about that word affordability and the con job that it is. And he actually said that affordability is quite worse in blue states.
Worse. I mean, in a blue state, affordability is worse than a blue state.
We can debate that, but keep going.
No, there's no debate. The number 50 basis points higher inflation, the 10 highest inflation rates are in blue cities.
I love that. Well, we can debate that. No. Shut your stupid mouth. There's no debate. I'm Scott Bessent, damn it.
But
just so you know, because I went to look at this, this is the Joint Economic Committee, since 2021. The highest inflation of the past 4 years has been in red states, especially Florida.
I'm talking about current.
Current. Not over the past 4 years.
Right. Today.
Okay. I would think 4 years would be a reasonable trend line to look at.
Today it is 50 basis points higher. So anyway, and look, the people are voting with their feet. I have the American people on my side. That New York, Illinois, California, Massachusetts are depopulating.
He's right. Have you heard anybody moving to New York, California, Illinois, Massachusetts, Taxachusetts? Have you? No, of course not. Of course not. This is a Democrat issue. It's worse in Democrat-run states, this affordability con. And President Trump was harping on this yesterday. The inflation that the Democrats caused was the worst in history. And Trump said, they're gonna try and fact check me on this, but it was the worst, at least in 48 years.
Everything comes down. But the word affordability is a Democrat scam. They say it, and then they go into the next subject. And everyone thinks, they had lower prices. No, they had the worst inflation in the history of our country. Now, some people will correct me, because they always love to correct me, even though I'm right about everything. But some people like to correct me, and they say 48 years. I say it's not 48 years, it's much more. But they say it's the worst inflation that we've had in 48 years. I say ever. But whether it's 48 years or ever, it's pretty bad. We had the worst inflation that we've ever had.
He's right. It was unbearable. Unbelievable what we saw under Joe Biden in that administration. It's getting better. It's getting better slowly. It's going to take some time. You're not going to fix it overnight. President Trump, though, is saying with all the money that we're bringing in via tariffs, maybe, just maybe, we're going to look at a future here soon where we don't have to worry about an income tax. He also said maybe we'll keep it around for fun. I don't know if that's my kind of fun. You tell me.
Over the next 2, 3, 4 years, those numbers are going to go up. And I believe that at some point in the not too distant future, you won't even have income tax to pay, because the money we're taking in is so great, it's so enormous, that you're not going to have income tax to pay. Whether you get rid of it or just keep it around for fun or have it really low, much lower than it is now, but you won't be paying income tax. We've slashed $1 trillion in.
Sign me up. Sign me up for eliminating income tax. And I don't think keeping it around for any reason is fun. It's fun. He also said that the $2,000 tariff dividend check is likely going out next year on top of the tax refunds.
We're smart. They're not going to be able to catch us. They know that. They told me that. Next year is projected to be the largest tax refund season ever, and we're going to be giving back refunds out of the tariffs because we've taken in literally trillions of dollars, and we're going to be giving a nice dividend to the people, in addition to reducing debt. As you know, I inherited a lot of debt, but it's peanuts compared to the kind of numbers we're talking about. So we're going to be making a dividend to the people, and additionally, we're going to be able to reduce debt. And as time goes by, over the next 2, 3, 4 years, those numbers are going to go up. And I believe that at some point in the not too distant future,
So we're going to get the dividend check, he says, on top of the tax refunds, which he says are going to be the largest. And then as the years go on, maybe we'll get rid of the income tax. I don't know why you wouldn't trust him. If anybody can do it, it is President Trump, but they're going to continue to bludgeon him with affordability. That is the new Democrat narrative, affordability, affordability, affordability. They're going to sink their teeth into that, and they're also going to sink their teeth into Donald Trump seems to be slowing down. He seems to be fading. He seems to have lost a step. Is he okay? Does he have health issues? He talked about that as well during the cabinet meeting. He said, I'll take all these press conferences. I'll do a news conference a day. Every day for 3 months, I take one day off. And they'll say, is he in good health? Is he doing all right? This is just another narrative that is perpetuated by the Democrats to instill doubts in the President of the United States.
Recorded. And nobody talks about that anymore. You know, it's crazy. They don't talk about it. You'd think they'd say, well, Trump's done a great job at the border. This country is being destroyed by the border. But you always find something new, like, is he in good health? Biden was great, but is Trump in good health? I sit here, I do 4 news conferences a day. I ask questions from very intelligent lunatics, you people. I give the right answers. There's never a scandal. There's never a problem. I give you answers that solve your little problems. You go back and you can't find anything, but you do stories about Biden was in wonderful health. The guy didn't do a news conference for 8 months. If I go one day, I had one day where I didn't do a news conference, there's something wrong with the president. You people are crazy. I'll let you know when there's something wrong. There will be someday. That's going to happen to all of us. But right now, I think I'm sharper than I was 25 years ago. But who the hell knows? By the way, I took my physical.
He took the physical, took the MRI, took the cognitive test. He's doing great. Scott Jennings was talking about this, though. The fact that they're now going after Trump. And, is he okay? Is he doing all right? Is his health in good shape? And Scott Jennings, he's just going after the Democrats, saying that they're only doing this because they're projecting after the Biden years.
He had gone, he'd had his exams, and then he was asked a question, and he said, I had an MRI, right? And then, some weeks go by, and he says he's got an MRI, but doesn't know what part of his body. What's going on with the president that's something that he feels like he needs to say in public?
I don't know. Look, I can only speak from personal experience. I saw the man a few days ago in the Oval Office for about an hour. He looked and sounded fine to me. We talked about a wide range of issues. There were people coming and going. It was as bustling as it's ever been in there when I've been in there. And I didn't notice anything at all. And so I watched most of the cabinet meeting today, which took a very long time because it lasted 3 hours. And at the end of it, the president then did his customary gaggle with the press and answered all of their questions. I honestly think this is an attempt to create a narrative about this guy that just doesn't exist because Democrats are so butthurt over have to live through the humiliation of the White House under Biden, claiming he was fine when he clearly wasn't. They want to transfer that to Donald Trump. It's just not the same. It's not true. And, I can only speak from my personal experience.
Yeah, I mean, these two things are not the same whatsoever. And she goes, you said he got an MRI, and then he doesn't talk about it. He was literally talking about it yesterday. I mean, I understand if you can't watch a whole 3-hour cabinet meeting, but President Trump talked about this at length.
By the way, I took my physical. I got all A's, everything. But they said to me, would you like to take a cognitive test? I said, is it hard? They said, yes. I said, well, I'm a very smart person. Who was the last president to take one? No president has ever agreed to take one. Because when you get into the mid-questions, meaning, 10, question number 10, 11, 12, 28, 30, they get harder and harder. And they said, would you like to do it? I said, well, no reason to do it. Nobody's ever done it. I'll do it maybe, but there's really no reason. They said, sir, the problem is this is Walter Reed Hospital. And that's a military hospital. And that means that things are, sort of open. It's not like private where you have, if you do poorly, we'll have to, probably you'll find out. I said, I won't do poorly. I'm a smart person, not a stupid person. And as the doctor will tell you, I aced it. Right, Susie? I aced. I got every question right. And these are tough questions. These are questions that I would say 99% of the people that I'm talking to right now, meaning the people from the fake news, would not do well in those exams. But I'm the only one that took it. I got every single question right. And then I read in the New York Times, is Trump sharp? Trump is sharp.
Trump is sharp. Just to recap, the Democrats are going to be pushing the word affordability. It's a con. We're still dealing with the hangovers of the Biden economy. Things are getting better. Lowest gas prices on record in 4 years. I think the average gas price in Tennessee right now is about $2.56. That's unbelievably good. It's only going to be getting better. When it comes to the president's health, yes, he's doing just fine. He's nailing it. And the investments coming into the country are unprecedented. 4 years, Joe Biden gets $1 trillion. 10 months, Donald Trump gets $18 trillion. We have not seen the fruit from those investments yet. 2026, I feel like, is going to be a massive year for the economy. And it's going to be thanks to President Trump. And I just wonder what the narrative spinners, what the Democrats, what the media is going to have to say then. It's 11:22. This is Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
The newly elected Tennessee Republican congressman describes the concession call from the Democrat. That's coming up at 11:30 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Ken Weaver in the newsroom. Louie is producing today. Mason Fleming is out. My name is Chris Hand. We got a lot to get to. Only a little bit of time. If you want to join the show, 615-737-9986. I'm currently debating with people on the text line about how gas prices going down, or if that's a trend in the right direction. Having the lowest gas average in 4 years is a good thing, not a bad thing. And they said, but I want it below $2. Okay. I do too. I get it. I 100% with you. But when you're at $3, like getting to $2.56 is a good starting point, and we're trending in the right direction. That's going to ripple through the economy faster than everything else. We got to get the price of diesel down. I do understand that. But President Trump is unleashing American energy. He's not afraid of it. So this is all good things. Rome wasn't built in a day. You're not going to be able to fix the issues of the Joe Biden administration in 1 year. I wish we could. But what President Trump is doing is going to bear fruit, is what I'm telling you. And you're starting to see it now. But, hey, if you just want to be upset because things are expensive, I get it. Things are expensive. And we have the Democrats to thank for that. Make no mistake about it. 615-737-9986. Did you hear Hakeem Jeffries the other day threatening to go after his political opponents? This is after months of saying we can't have the weaponization of the justice system. President Trump is weaponizing the justice system. This is after years of us seeing the Democrats do exactly that to President Trump and his closest allies. But when Hakeem Jeffries says this, you have to understand that all Democrats want is power, and they want to throw conservatives in prison. He went on the record saying GOP extremists and Trump sycophants aren't going to be able to avoid the statute of limitations after Trump leaves office. He's threatening lawfare against conservatives.
The one thing that should be clear to all of these Republican extremists and sycophants and the people who are either actively involved in corruption, violating the law, engaged in extrajudicial activity, is that the statute of limitations for any crimes being committed now are 5 years. It will extend well beyond the end of the Trump administration.
Oh, you're threatened with lawfare. You're being threatened with lawfare for what's that? Enforcing the law. And he's not just talking about the president. He's talking about ICE agents. He's talking about individuals like Tom Homan. Tom Homan was asked about this last night on Jesse Waters.
Over. Oh, they already said they're going to, so come get some. Bottom line is, I'm not going to let them forget what they did the last 4 years. 500,000 children were separated from their families and smuggled across this border. 250,000 Americans died from drug overdoses that came across that border. And what's President Trump done? He gave us the most secure border in history of this nation, which means sex trafficking plummeted. No unsuspected terrorists coming across the border is plummeted. Criminal cartels are going broke. He's record deportation. Every promise he's made to the American people, he's getting. And let's not forget, we're going to find every one of these people that weren't vetted, and we're going to make sure that they are properly vetted, and if not, they're going home. President Trump's going to make this country safe again. He made that promise. We're going to make sure that he keeps that promise.
I love that. Hey, Mr. Homan, Hakeem Jeffries said that he's going to come after you, that the statute of limitations won't be up after President Trump's term. Your thoughts? Come get some. 11:30, Super Talk, 99.7 WTN.
I'm Ken Weaver with your top stories. Got the full forecast coming up in 5 minutes. And right now in Tennessee, the newly elected 7th District Congressman Matt Van Epps characterizes the concession call from Democrat Afton Bain last night.
Basically, like, don't let the subsidies expire. And I just said, well, thank you. We're going to take a hard look at everything. We're going to be working really hard on health care.
Congress scheduled to take up the expiring Obamacare tax credits next week, with the Senate vote promised as part of that deal to end the recent government shutdown. Harry Russum has reaction to the results of that election from the RNC.
The head of the Republican National Committee says the win last night makes it clear voters do not want, quote, far-left candidates who hate the very people they claim to represent. And this race was closer than many expected. One analysis found Republicans currently hold about 100 congressional seats in districts that are less red than Tennessee's 7th.
The president announcing a new kind of investment for the future. $1,000 from the U.S. Treasury for every child born between 2025 and 2028.
This will give millions of dollars, millions of children, middle-class families a stake in American prosperity, a benefit from the rising stock market, and a better shot at the American dream.
The new so-called Trump account's a key part of President Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill passed earlier this year. And authorities in New Zealand believe they captured a jewelry thief, but are waiting on a key piece of the evidence.
Authorities in New Zealand say a 32-year-old man walked into an Auckland jewelry store, and soon after, a rare Fabergé egg pendant set with 60 white diamonds disappeared. The store called police. The man was arrested. Authorities believe he swallowed the egg, valued at $19,000. The man's due in court next week. The egg has not been recovered. Police say they're waiting for nature to take its course.
Yeah, yuck. That's the latest news. Weather's next. I'm Ken Weaver, WTN News.
Hey friends, Chris Hand here for my friends at Zero Res Nashville. My wife and I swear by Zero Res. We got 4 kids, we got 2 dogs, we have copious amounts of dirt, mud, spills, applesauce, what is that, all over the carpets, all the time. And we don't freak out anymore. We don't panic. We don't buy a new rug. We call Zero Res Nashville. These guys are the Maha of carpet cleaning. I tell you all the time, exclusive ZR water, no soap, no harsh chemicals, no residue. Your carpets aren't going to look insanely clean. They're going to stay clean longer as well. Right now, get your holiday clean in. You got people coming over for Christmas. You're going to have family in for Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, the day after. Well, you can get 2 rooms and your hallway or stairs cleaned right now for $129. It's a steal. It gets even better. You could do 3 rooms plus a hallway or stairs for just $149. Your carpets are going to be looking so good that your guests are going to say, "Can we eat on the floor?" They're going to say, "Please, no. I don't want to have to call Zero Res twice." But if you had to, it wouldn't be the end of the world because these guys are the best. They don't break the bank, and they're going to do it right the first time. Call my friends at Zero Res today, 615-535-9376, 615-535-9376, or book online. Make sure you're on the schedule before Christmas, ZeroResNashville.com. That's ZeroResNashville.com. It's 11:38 on Super Talk 99.7 WTN. Hey, how are you? I'm Chris Hand. Show is brought to you by you. Sorry. We're not sure who the show sponsor is anymore. We got to figure that out. we got to figure that out. But you can watch us anywhere. Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Rumble. Hit like, hit subscribe, share the show with your friends. I'm being called a propagandist on the text line. Said 3449. Said, you literally praise one side with incredibly rare and small admonitions, and you totally demonize the others without ever acknowledging anything positive. You're working for a team, not principles. What do propagandists do? Oh, yeah, that. I said, oh, weird. Because I haven't criticized the Trump administration about anything, right? Nothing at all. I haven't criticized the way they handled the Epstein files. I didn't criticize the H-1B visas. I didn't criticize the Chinese students. I've never criticized the fact that we need to get deportation numbers up. Oh, wait, what's that? Yeah, I've done all those things. And saying something positive about the other side, I have a hard time giving a good old, wow, great work to the team that endorses abortion on demand and transing and mutilating kids. So, yeah, you won't find me saying many nice things about Democrats, I assure you. But, hey, you tell me. I'm just a propagandist. I don't think so. I think I'm just seeing things for what they are. I would say to 3449, do some more research. So, by all means. Thank you for listening, though. Appreciate that. Got a couple calls to get to, and then we'll jump into the lightning round. Let's go to Mark in Nashville. Excuse me. Thanks for holding, Mark. What do you got?
Yeah, this has been going on for a long time, a very long time, because I grew up in Woodbine. I'm retired military, and I grew up in Woodbine, and I was in the middle of the busing issues, but in the late 70s, a friend of mine's parents moved to a farm there in Woodbine, and they rented their house out to an old man, an old woman, and a kid, the Laotians. And they rented it out to them to start with. Well, within 6 months, there was 15 living in that house. And every kid in that house that was our age, my age, at 16 or 17, every one of them drove a brand new car. One had the Trans Am, Smoking the Bandit one. They had the Camaro. They had every car we dreamed about. And, that's just the way it was, and we couldn't figure out what was going on, but they had them, and we, I ended up moving out of there, and but now I go over there onto Merciful Road on Knowlesville Road there, and like I said, I'm retired military, and I've been overseas and in New Mexico and everywhere, and I go over there, I see Arabic writing on buildings across from Krispy Kreme. I see, I went down to Walmart down there at Harding Place, and went in there and I talked to 3 people before I found somebody who could speak English. And that was about 12 years ago.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. We're seeing the country change right before our eyes. You're not wrong, and I appreciate the call. Let's go to Bobby in Las Vegas real quick. What's up, Bobby?
Hey, Chris, I want to give a shout out to Louis, man. He's doing a fine job today, brother. But here's the deal, man. I was going to go into Akeem Jeffries, but I'm just going to forget about him. They all go up there and they get elected, and they come in there. She started out with $700,000. That's what she was worth. And now she's worth $20+ million. And what has it been, like 5 years? I mean, that right there needs to be investigated. And also, the last caller, I agree with him 100%. Because, brother, I could lay some stuff down on you. They come over here, and they have 2 cards. A friend of mine showed me. They got a card from the government. It's got $7,500 on it, and that's not their EBT card. And that thing recharges every month.
It's insane.
So, hey, how can me and you get in on that deal, brother? What's your take on it?
I think what we got to do is we'd have to – it would be a lot easier under the Biden administration. We would leave the country, we would burn our passports, and then we would sneak back in, and we would claim asylum. That would be the move. Hey, you know what time it is? Louis, you know what time it is? It's time for the lightning round.
It's the lightning round with Chris Hand.
We do it every day at this time. All the stories that we didn't have a chance to get to, all the stories that couldn't fill up a whole segment and more. We call it the lightning round. It's fun. We like to have fun during the lightning round. Hey, we doing any Christmas tree lightings? They're coming up. They're popping up all around town. My wife and I were talking about maybe doing the one in Murfreesboro. I think is that this Friday night in Murfreesboro? I think so. I love that. I love the little Christmas tree lightings. I love getting some hot cocoa, bundling up with the kids, singing songs. I wouldn't want to go to the one in Portland. Portland, Oregon. Leftists, they decided to have a Christmas tree lighting ceremony. And you know what they did? It was classy. They know how to class things up in Portland. They avoided using the word Christmas. Yep. Christmas is very political in Portland, Oregon. And how dare you say Merry Christmas? On Friday night, during the city's 41st annual holiday celebration, leaders and speakers at the event in Pioneer Courthouse Square avoided using the word Christmas and referred to the Christmas tree as the tree. It's the tree. Don't worry. They had lots of fun things to say. This is at the Christmas tree lighting in Portland, 41st annual tree lighting. This is how they framed it, and this is what their speakers had to say.
Oh, if I could get a free Palestine! Free Palestine!
What are we doing? We can't, what?
What?
We can't say Merry Christmas. We can't say Christmas tree. But at the tree lighting, we can go ahead and get a free Palestine.
A free Palestine! Free Palestine!
Nothing says Merry Christmas like free Palestine. What the hell? This is the weirdest city in the country. I'm convinced of it. I don't understand it. My friend Dave Medina was out there. Dave's a good guy and worth the follow on all the social media platforms. I've met him a few times. He's a class act. He lives in Portland, and he had some play-by-play on what happened there at their tree lighting ceremony.
All right, guys, so I'm in front of the Portland. They call it the tree. I'm not even kidding you. Look at, they can't even say Christmas. It says right there on the thing, right there, it says the tree. Here in Portland, Oregon, if you notice the fake news, local news media, and all of the influencers, they just call it the holiday tree. I am declaring that this is now hereby renamed to the Christmas tree. It's okay to say Christmas, but you guys don't want to say Christmas because it's for Christians, right? But if it was a Muslim thing, you guys wouldn't have any problem saying it. But Portland, this is the Christmas tree, the Portland Christmas tree. Let's take back Christmas. Let's not let them take Christmas from us.
How dare you say Merry Christmas? How dare you? It's a clown show out there. It's an absolute clown show. But that's not even the worst one. I got another story for you here in the lightning round. You think that's bad? I'll tell you what. The tree in Portland has nothing on the nativity scene in Illinois. Yeah, it's Christmas themed. It's Christmas themed lightning round. And Breitbart has the story. Let me see if I can get this up on the screen. This is a church nativity scene. Okay, and if you got that up on the screen, it's really fun. It's really super topical. They have replaced the Roman soldiers with ICE agents, and they got a little zip-tied baby Jesus. My gosh. Oh, my gosh. Zip-tied baby Jesus. Nothing says it's time to light the tree like zip-tied baby Jesus. A left-wing church in Illinois put out a nativity scene with a zip-tied baby Jesus, Roman soldiers depicted as ICE agents, and Mary and Joseph wearing gas masks. Lake Street Church of Evanston said in a post to Facebook last week that the display reimagines the nativity scene of forced family separation, drawing direct parallels between the Holy Family's refugee experience and the contemporary immigration detention practices. So there's that. I kind of want to go. Is it weird that I would want to go see this one? I don't necessarily need to go see the tree in Portland. I'm a huge fan of nativity scenes. This one is different. This one's zip-tied baby Jesus, Roman soldiers as ice. They say by placing the Christmas story within the visual language of immigration enforcement and detention, this work asks viewers to confront the disconnect between professed religious or moral values and immigration policies. The emergency blanket that Jesus is wrapped in references the actual materials used in detention facilities. The zip ties on the infant's wrists directly reference the children who were zip tied during a raid on a Chicago apartment building earlier this year where most residents were U.S. citizens, a stark reminder that enforcement terror does not discriminate by documentation status. Just for clarification, the zip-tied kids, no photos, no videos, fake news, started by one crazy leftist at the scene in front of a news camera. I'm sorry, no kids were zip-tied in Chicago during that immigration raid. They were never able to produce any photos, any videos. You know they would have them if it happened. I'm still waiting for any evidence that happened. It's not going to. They continue, though. The gas masks worn by Mary and Joseph reference the documented use of tear gas and other chemical weapons deployed by ICE agents against peaceful protesters, journalists, and community members advocating for immigration reform and bearing witness to human rights abuses within the system, the Post reads. Completely ignoring the vehicle rammings that are happening, the rocks that are being thrown, the fact that a couple of these activists have pulled out firearms and shot at ICE agents. Oh, Mary and Joseph need gas masks because ICE agents are evil. Got it. The church said it hopes the display will spur on conversation about what sanctuary means when families fleeing violence are met with separation, detention, and dehumanization before making the claim that Jesus and his family were refugees. Got it. What about all the pedophiles, murderers, rapists that ICE is taking off the street? Gang members, terrorists? Nothing to say about that in the Facebook post. Got it. That does it for the lightning round. It's 11:51. This is Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
Republican Matt Van Epps' take on winning the special election by 9 points. Coming up at noon on Super Talk 99.7 WTN.
That's Ken Weaver in the newsroom. My name is Chris Hand. Louie's been doing a bang-up job producing today. Shout out to Louie. Hey, what time did you get up? Like 3 a.m.? And then he was throwing a curveball and said, you got to stay till noon.
Yep.
Beast mode. Beast mode, Louie. We salute you.
Are you here till noon, Louie? Or are you here longer, right?
Yeah, I'm here till like 3.
You're here till 3. I got Louie again.
Yeah.
Let's go. Dude, marathon, man.
It's a Louie day.
Yep. I love it. What do you got going on? What are you talking about? I just talked about...
We were talking about leftovers.
Oh yeah, me and Chad were talking about leftovers. But did I show you the ICE, the Illinois church nativity scene?
No, what is it?
They've replaced. So okay, let's start with Baby Jesus because that's the moral of the story. Baby Jesus is wrapped in one of those space blankets, and his hands are zip tied.
It's sending a message.
And then the Roman soldiers are dressed up like ICE agents.
Okay, you can see that coming.
And then Mary and Joseph are wearing gas masks.
Okay, there we go.
Gotta love it.
Yeah. Now, did the church do it, or did somebody come and do it while the church wasn't looking?
The church did it.
Oh, okay. There you go.
Yep.
Well, the church is, they talk about loving everybody.
You see that? Look at little baby Jesus. They got the brown baby doll too.
Wow, that's a realistic looking baby doll. That baby doll looks like it's getting ready to climb Everest and has or just ran a marathon.
Dude, some of those baby dolls are getting weird.
Dude, they're so creepy.
So my mom, this is a couple years ago, got one of those realistic baby dolls for my daughter. And, we're all a little bit creeped out by it. I forget where we were, but she's dragging it. So this woman.
Somebody call CPS on you guys?
This woman freaks out. She's like, your daughter dropped the baby. Your daughter dropped it. It's like, no, Mom. It's like, no, it's a toy.
Those things are
it's a toy.
So realistic. There was a restaurant closing over here, and my wife and them thought she walked in one day, and they're closing, and it's this seafood restaurant, and the lady said, because my daughters were there, here's some of those porcelain baby dolls where their eyes kind of close one by one, and all they do is scare the crap out of you at night.
Dude,
even
wild.
Charlie, she got it home. She goes, I don't want this in the house.
I don't want this. It's too creepy. It's too creepy. So we were talking about leftovers before we got on the air. I've told this a couple times, but you need to hear it again. And I heard Louie talking yesterday. He's like, you run out of the juice. Can't run out of the juice on the turkey. But mashed potatoes is the base. You toss in stuffing. You toss in turkey. You mix it all up. You form it into patties, and you stick that on a waffle iron.
That's so good.
Dude, it was unbelievable. I was mad that I did that at the tail end of the leftovers, and that's how we closed it out, because I should have been doing that from the beginning.
Yeah. It's almost worth going, all right, you know what, in a few months we'll be like, turkey would be good. We could try this thing again.
I literally said to the wife, I'm like, I'm cooking another turkey for Christmas.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We're doing it again.
Yeah, I like that.
And we're only doing it for the waffle.
Only for the leftovers. We don't care about the rest of the crap. We don't even need to eat it tonight. We'll have ham. We'll just take the leftovers tomorrow.
100%. It is the tastiest thing that you've ever had. My son doesn't even like mashed potatoes, and he took a bite, and he's like, we found a new tradition. I was like, what? He's like, every year, day after Thanksgiving, this is breakfast.
That's a good thing. Why does he like mashed potatoes?
I don't know. All of my kids are so weird. They don't like mashed potatoes. And I'm like, you're a kid. There are a few things that you're supposed to like.
Yes.
Without question. Mashed potatoes is one of those.
Yeah. Charlie mashed potatoes, but there's just some things she was, I'm not going to argue with you.
It blows my mind.
Yeah. It is so weird. But
we used to be a proper country.
Well, you did. Yeah, we did. Absolutely. We used to be a proper country. We're not anymore now. The world's been taken over by stuff.
I know.
By outrage culture. Rage bait!
I've been outraged today.
Have you?
Yes.
Over what? You look like you're getting ready to laugh, so that shows you the kind of outrage I have, too.
I'm outraged. I'm outraged over Somalia, and I'm outraged over Hakeem Jeffries saying...
You know what I'm outraged over? Why haven't we come up with an idea where we set up a whole bunch of fake things?
Dude, preach.
By the way, it doesn't have to be fake.
It can be real.
I've had a couple buddies who did stuff in California for the homeless, and we tried really hard, and they didn't want to stay, but we got paid. I'm like, I got to do that. You guys have way too much money if you're wasting this kind of money on stuff, and nobody seems to care.
You're absolutely right. What are you talking about today?
You know, we're going to talk a little bit about the Minnesota thing. Did you hear what the New York Times journalist said?
No.
Oh, dude, he went off on, hey, people, it's too late. You guys let brown people in this country, and we're going to take it over. We own this country now. You guys have no culture. Your music sucks. Your food sucks. And it was crazy. And I'm like, we're going to play some of that.
It always blows my mind when they say white people have no culture, because I'm like, have you seen Europe?
So, yeah. By the way, if we have no culture, why does everybody want to come here?
Thank you. Thank you.
Why does everybody want to come here? And everybody wants to come here because we do have a culture. And the culture has nothing to do with how cool your jeans are or how awesome my shorts are, which, by the way, our big boss continues to make fun of me because I wear shorts every day.
Jankos were base. Do you remember those? Do you remember those? Dog, I wore those unironically for years.
You know what was cool? Did you ever? Oh, you're too young to have breakdance pants.
I did not have breakdance pants.
Oh my gosh, you didn't have those?
No, I did.
I
had my Janko jeans.
That was pretty sweet.
I loved it.
I was not saying. You know what's funny? I look back. We got pictures of me in like breakdance. You know, like when you're a kid, and I got real Jordans on.
Let's go.
And you're like, yeah, those would be worth $1 million.
Yeah.
What'd you do with those? I was spinning on the car doing breakdance stuff. Yeah. Hilarious.
I don't know. Somebody threw them over some power lines one time. I don't know what happened to them after that. Chad's in next. It's 12.